The Galactic Council chamber was an architectural marvel, a vast dome suspended in the heart of neutral space, where the most powerful species in the known universe convened to dictate the future. Today, however, the chamber was filled with an unusual tension. A demand had been made, as it always was when a new species reached the threshold of interstellar civilization. Humanity, the latest addition to the galactic stage, had been summoned to pay tribute, an offering to prove their recognition of the Council's authority. The representatives of the great empires smirked in satisfaction. The process was routine. Newcomers either complied, submitting wealth and resources, or they resisted, and were swiftly crushed, their worlds stripped of value, and their people enslaved or annihilated. The demand had been clear. The Council required a tithe, a fleet of ships, a percentage of their planetary resources, and a formal pledge of allegiance. It was a small price for protection, for stability, for a place at the table. The human delegation had arrived late. Not out of disrespect, but with a deliberate slowness, an intentional show of confidence. They had listened to the demands in silence. No haggling, no hesitation, no fear. And then, the human ambassador, a tall woman in a sharp-cut uniform, leaned forward. Her expression unreadable. Her answer was a single word: no. For a moment, there was only stunned silence. The chamber, once filled with the quiet hum of expectation, now felt like a vacuum. Some assumed they had misheard. Others exchanged glances, waiting for the real answer, perhaps an apology or a revised offer. It never came. An insectoid diplomat clicked its mandibles in irritation. Human, perhaps you misunderstand. This is not a request. The human ambassador tilted her head, considering the statement before responding. And, perhaps you misunderstand. That was not a negotiation. Murmurs spread like wildfire. The Volari, whose war fleets had crushed entire civilizations, hissed in amusement. The Drelk, masters of subjugation, let out guttural laughs. Defiance was amusing, but ultimately futile. A reptilian counselor, his scaled skin glistening under the artificial lights, leaned forward. You will comply, he growled. Or your worlds will burn. That was the expected outcome. That was the way things had always gone. But the human ambassador's expression did not change. Instead, she placed a small data tablet on the table and tapped it once. A projection flared to life, a rotating display of star systems, fleets, military assets. Human fleets. More than the Council expected. More than should have been possible for such a young species. Then came the second word. Try. It was not a plea. It was not bravado. It was a dare. And suddenly, the Council realized why humanity had refused. They hadn't needed to calculate the cost of war. They had already prepared for it. The chamber's air turned electric. Some species shuffled uncomfortably, realizing that the usual script had been broken. Others stiffened in outrage. A silence stretched for what felt like eternity. Then, without another word, the human delegation stood, turned, and left. The demand had been made. The answer had been given. And for the first time in its long and storied history, the Galactic Council found itself hesitating. Because this was not a primitive species begging for acceptance. This was a species that had looked at the weight of galactic history, the might of the Council, the vast fleets and empires that had ruled for millennia, and decided that it simply did not matter.